The Zhiyun Smooth Q3 is Zhiyun's latest gimbal offering in their mobile lineup, following suit of their simpler shaped Smooth Q2, which was much more cylindrical than what's on offer here. The Smooth Q3 is a lot more interesting to look at, it's more lightweight and has a feature set more targeted towards online content creation, including Instagram Reels and TikToks. In this review, we're going to be running through all of the pros and cons of the Zhiyun Smooth Q3. So the gimbal itself is made from a plastic material, but don't let that deter you. It still feels pretty sturdy and actually pretty light considering weighing in at 340 grams. Even with the phone on there, the maximum weight was never a real issue with the whipping of the gimbal around you when you like pan around and whip it around and things. The max payload of the Q3 can handle is 280 grams, which is easily covering the heaviest of mobile phones. The Smooth Q3 when folded measures at 45 by 154 by 180 millimeters, and Zhiyun call their system a sliding design 3-axis mobile stabilizer. And on the side of the middle arm is a screw that loosens and tightens the mechanism. Now, for the most part, I used my Google Pixel 4 XL, even though it's not on there at the moment. This is just for demonstration. But I used my Pixel 4 XL with the gimbal, so I had to use it on its highest setting and has actually replaced the typical folding mechanism found on Zhiyun's other gimbals. How long the sliding mechanism lasts though begs to be seen, though it does aid in pressure being put on the bottom motor while locked in place, or when the gimbal is switched on without unlocking it. Now the middle motor and head are also locked and unlocked with a twist, and there's a small snapping motion to lock it in place. On the handle you've got 2 buttons and a joystick. The long red button is for starting and stopping recording, and the second button is there for switching to different modes. There's a small green light that is segmented just above the buttons so you don't have to mess around with the app, but more on the types of modes in a moment. Now on the back, or where your trigger finger goes, is a power button and a button that is used for object tracking. 1 tap will track a detected object on the screen, and 2 taps resets the gimbal head position, and 3 taps switches the head between portrait and landscape shooting. Now on the side of by your thumb is a control for zooming in your camera, again so you don't have to mess around with doing that kind of thing inside of the ZYCami app. It's fine but not super accurate, but for the functionality it's decent that so many controls are on the handle. Now on the bottom is a tripod mount, and in the box you get a small set of legs in case you want to put the gimbal down on a surface. The grip while holding the gimbal itself is incredibly good around the front, but I would have liked to have some more grip around the back where my fingers are on the handle. It is a very, very small handle, so just down here I'd like to see a bit of rubber being used. Being plastic, it did feel a little bit slippery. Let's talk about the different modes that are available on the Smooth Q3. And as I said, you can see which mode you're in by the light above the mode button. The modes are follow, pan follow, point of view, vortex, and lock mode. And you can cycle either way through the modes themselves. A single press will move the modes forward, while a double press will cycle backwards through the different modes. Now, there are also small symbols underneath each light to give you an idea at a glance of which mode you're in, so there's no guessing or even learning the lighting positions. That isn't necessary at all. What is an interesting feature is the fact that there is a light on top of the mobile clamp for vlogging purposes. Just hold your finger down on top and it will switch the light on. It's not particularly bright, but it does offer some separation of your subject to background. Tapping the selection on top once will cycle through 3 brightness modes too, depending on natural light in the shot. The light can also twist round to face the subject too, and this can be done easily with your fingers. It's not particularly tight, but it's not loose enough to become a hindrance either. The Zhiyun Smooth Q3 does rely on a partner app called the ZYCami App. In a nutshell, it's a camera app that can be connected to the gimbal using Bluetooth, so the controls on the gimbal works with the device, just like the recording button and the zoom function. Now inside of the settings, you can find an option for various video resolutions. My Google Pixel 4 XL goes up to 4K, shooting at 30 or 24 frames per second. I'm not sure if this is the same for all phones, as I've only got the one phone, well I've got 2 phones, but the one phone I used with the gimbal itself. If I drop this down to 1080p though, I can shoot at 60 FPS. Or again, if I drop it further to 720, I can shoot at 60 FPS. You've also got some glamour effects to smooth your skin and make you look a little bit skinnier if that's your thing. If you're making content online, I suppose that probably is your thing. And you can also activate recording by firing off some hand gestures at the camera. So I thought I'd give you a rundown of all of the glamour modes that are available on the actual camera itself, or the ZYCam app. So excuse me while I change through the different settings. I have got it on the slim at the moment. Does it make me look a little bit slimmer? Not too sure, to be honest with you. I can smooth out my skin. Am I looking smooth? Nice and smooth. What does that say? Brighten, so I can brighten myself. Although that makes me look a little bit more tanned. Enlarge my eyes. Alright. Let's put the slider up to 100% to make my eyes look bigger. I don't know. I can lighten myself as a subject as well. I can slim myself. I'm not sure if you can notice there's slight little changes going on in the actual app, or there is an auto mode as well that you can use with the ZYCami app. The controls for the gimbal include a C mode for which people are walking or running, which essentially strengthens the motors to keep the phone as steady as possible. And you've got a mode setting, though as I said, you can change this on the handle. Going through some of the main modes on the apps, and you've got your standard photo mode and video modes. There is a pano mode, time-lapse, hyperlapse, you've got a dolly zoom. You've also got an interesting feature called AI Live, which allows you to live stream with all of the features of the app to your favorite social media networks. And there is Smart, all in capital letters, which is a templated video editor that stitches your video clips together into a nice, neat video for social media with nice transitions and things like that. From all of this, you just know that Zhiyun have a specific audience in mind with this gimbal, and I'm looking at you TikTok content creators, and for that reason, they've done a really great job of creating a piece of equipment that feels unique and nice and light, and thanks to its small light on top, which is really going to aid creators in making really nice content, especially in lower lighting levels. However, with its lightweight design, which okay, is great to hold for longer periods of time, it makes the gimbal feel a little more flimsy than the older Q models coming from Zhiyun. It's a trade-off for sure, and for some it's going to be welcome. But for people who really like to swing around their gimbals, maybe not so much. But this thing costs £85, right? It's not the most expensive gimbal in the world, and for all of its great features and usability, I think that's a pretty fair asking price. So thank you very much for checking out our video review of the Zhiyun Smooth Q3 mobile gimbal. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Please subscribe to keep up with our latest tech and gaming videos, and also let us know in the comments below if this is something you would go for, or you would stick to an older Zhiyun Smooth gimbal, or you'd even go to another manufacturer like DJI, for example, which make their nice mobile gimbals now. Very similar to this, actually. Let us know in the comments down below. As I say, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.